near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this story. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. Hey, all you minties, Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I'm doing an overview that you all have been asking me to do. But this is my overview of the CODA Deluxe Edition from Boom Studios. So, join me. And welcome back, everybody. So, this overview is an overview that you all have been wanting me to do. At the beginning of the year, I talked about my most favorite collected editions that are coming out in 2023, and I will be doing the same here in August with the remaining of the year, because we didn't have everything solicited. This made it to the top. This made it to the top 10 of books coming out in July, and a lot of people are wondering why, because, you know, sometimes it's hard to just say it's a fantasy series with badass artwork, and I think sometimes people need a little more than that. So today I hope I do this story justice, because I really liked it, and I'm hoping it will at least pique the interest of those that kind of have the same taste in this type of fantasy genre, if you will. But it's not just limited to fantasy. So here we have a cover, a brand new cover by Matías Bergara, who is the main artist on the book. And then, of course, written by Simon Spurrier, CODA. Boom Studios logo up at the top, CODA, Simon Spurrier, Matías Bergara. Book 1, that's really interesting, because it's, from what I know, it's all done. But I don't know, maybe there is hope for some more. On the back, you'll notice there's absolutely nothing about the book. It just has the Boom Studios logo, $49.99, and I don't know if that's because this was supposed to be, here we go, so you can see the cover across the front and back board. So I don't know if this was supposed to be in a slipcase at one time and then they canceled the slipcase, but this is the design, which I love it. I think it's great. I don't know if it's going to get the attention of the people that have no idea what this is, though. The art is on board. I'll just go ahead and say that. There is no dust jacket, and I'm sure you could probably tell it does have a flat spine like other deluxe editions from Boom Studios. You can see the glossy finish to our character of Hum there and Nag. And I'll talk a little bit more about those. And then, of course, the word CODA has some of that gloss and on the spine. All right, so we are going to be talking about the book. Like I said, I'm going to try to do the story justice, because to me it's a freaking awesome story. I'm a big fan of Spurrier, and of course showing off this wonderful artwork in case you are one of these people that don't care much about the story, but I love oversized artwork. And then, of course, the big question is, if you already have the 3 trade paperbacks, do you need to upgrade? Because, well, not everything is collected in here that was found in these. The story itself, all 12 issues are in here. But the extras, these actually have a little more extras than the deluxe edition. And I'll explain what those are here in a little bit. But first, let's crack it open, talk about the story, to give you the pitch. Not really going into heavy spoilers, just kind of giving you the premise and hopefully the hook enough for people to be like, yeah, let's check it out. All right, let's go ahead and crack it open. Here are your end sheets. And I feel like these end sheets were a missed opportunity to have the map of the world before and the world after. That would have been really cool. But they are just red end sheets. And here you have all the praise. Entertainment Weekly Artist of the Year, the Festival International de la Bande de Cine, and the Eisner Award nominee for Best Pencil or Inker for 2019. All the praise from Sci-Fi, Nerdist, and IO9. And then here you have written by, illustrated by, of course, Matías Bergara, Simon Spurrier writing the entirety of the book, Michael Doig doing the color assist, and then letter by Jim Campbell with Colin Bell. So here we kick it off with Chapter 1. There's no cover in front of it. There's no forward. And this is a little bit different than the trade paperbacks. The trade paperbacks also jumped into the story with just Chapter 1. However, the cover to issue number 1 is at the end of the story of issue 1. So here's the cover, and then you have the beginning of issue 2. And same thing with the other issues. They're at the end of the issue. Whereas this, they keep it all the way in the back. But at least you have different chapters. So it's not like a Jonathan Hickman book where you're trying to figure out what issue you're on and then you have all the covers in the back. But it's definitely missing from the front of each issue. You just have the chapter breaks like this. All right, so this collects all 12 issues of CODA, all written by Spurrier, who of course has given us Star Wars, who's given us Legion for X-Men, who's currently writing some X-Men stories, who's written Hellblazer, and artwork by Matías Bergara. Now, Matías Bergara, he's done Supergirl, he's done some Hellblazer stories, and a lot of other things like, the Step by Bloody Step storyline. Now, Spurrier has become one of my favorite writers when it comes to independent comics. I love his, oh my gosh, the Godshaper is one of my favorites. The Spire is one of my favorites. But what I love about him, other people may not. And I'll explain that here in a little bit, what that means. Let me just give you the premise of this book. So the premise is all about this ex-bard. So this character named Hum, who used to be a bard, and now is living in this world that is kind of like a post-apocalyptic fantasy realm. But don't think things like Lord of the Rings. Think things like Mad Max, actually. Less Lord of the Rings, more Mad Max. Now, in this aftermath of something called the Quench, the magic is gone. The magic from all around the world is just gone. It's disappeared. And there's no magic users. You know, the bad guys have won pretty much. So I guess if you're thinking of Lord of the Rings, think of like Sauron winning, and this is the world afterwards. Now, he is on a task. He is trying to gather magic, and this magic is called Aka. I believe it's Aka, maybe it's how it's pronounced. And he's trying to get his wife back. So Hum's wife has been captured by the Urkin. Think like orcs, if you will, but they're called Urkin in this world. And she is captive by them. And his only way to return her back is to help out this mermaid. And she requires a large sum of Acker, which is, like I said, MP, the magic potions in fantasy realms or in Final Fantasy games. But they're like this green vial. And that's what she needs. And in exchange for helping her, she will help him get his wife back. Now, it's just Hum, and by the way, his name comes from him not being very vocal. As a matter of fact, that's how he got his name. He just answers with Hum. And now, that's not to say that this is not dialogue heavy, because it sure is, and because he writes a lot of letters. The whole quest is him trying to get his wife Circa back. And he's writing letters to her. And he's only accompanied, like, there's only just a handful of main characters through here. But even smaller characters have big personalities, and that's what I enjoy about this. So he's accompanied by his pentacorn, which is like a 5-horn unicorn, hence the name Pentacorn. And the pentacorn is a little bit of a foul-mouthed beast. And it's kind of angry, and his name is Nag. And has just has a bad attitude about everything. Now, you see the use of Acker here when he gives Nag some of this magic, and Nag just turns into this big, strong, powerful creature to help him out on a rut, because that's what ends up happening through here. So, this is the artwork, and like so. Holy crap, the art in this. Alright, so in here you're going to see fantasy tropes, you're going to see elves, you're going to see, as I mentioned, the Urkin, which are kind of like the orcs. You're going to see dwarves, you're going to see knights. Do you see a dragon through these pages? Not in the way that you would expect to see a dragon, but you'll see what I mean when you get to the third arc. Now, what did I mean when I said I love Spurrier, but I understand why some people don't dig this type of story? Because I'm sure, as you're looking through here, the artwork is beautiful, and you're like, oh, I gotta check that out. So the way that Spurrier writes, at least his independent stuff, his fantasy-based stuff, is he throws you in the middle of the madness. It's like it throws you into this unfamiliar and just wild world that's full of just crazy creatures where everything is just a danger around the corner. It's strange to you and the main character. And then, of course, this wonderful artwork really helps the overload of your senses. Like, I don't understand what's going on. And you're trying to make sense of everything while thrown in this world where nothing is really explained. You just kind of gather clues here and there. And as I gave you the premise, that's pretty much it. But it takes a little while to understand exactly who Hum is, what he's doing with Nag, and what his quest is. There's more to it than that. But as you follow the story, the more you start to just make sense of everything. The more that you start to care about these characters and you start wondering, wait a minute. Then if this is happening here, then what was happening in the previous world? Well, how did it all lead to this? Where's all the magic gone? And the more you read it, the more you find out about this world. So his world building is done a little bit, I don't want to say backwards or like you're on rewind, but it's definitely a lot different than world building that I've seen. And that's what I enjoy about it. It's like you have these little puzzle pieces at the beginning that make a big, beautiful picture when you get to the middle. And then you don't want that puzzle broken, but sometimes it breaks by the time you get to the end. I hope that's making sense. I'm really trying to do this wonderful story justice. But because that's really all I want to say about it. You know, the quest, because there's a twist with the quest that happens early on. And that's the beauty of the story. And there's twists and turns everywhere. Like by the time you get to the middle of the book, there's this utter sense of despair. Like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Because he's not the most likable character at the beginning. Hum is kind of not your Frodo. He's not even wise like Gandalf. He's kind of like an anti-hero and a bit of an ass. And he's got this dry sense of wit about him that I think it feels like Spurrier speaking through him, that you either find funny or you don't. But by the time you get to the middle of the book, you start understanding why he is the way that he is and why he doesn't speak a lot but writes letters instead. That's why I said it was dialogue heavy. And you start carrying, the guy just grows on you. And then the supporting cast, oh man. I feel like, I will say, if you're not digging it by issue number 4, because something big happens in between issue 3 and 4, and if you're not digging it by the end of issue 4, maybe this book's not for you. I hate saying that about any book, especially, I try to stay neutral when it comes to overviews, but I feel like that is the fair shot to this book. Because once you get to the middle, that's when you're like, holy crap, I don't want anything bad to happen to these characters. He just does such a great thing, like giving each characters their own individual voices, and you just want more and more of these characters to keep coming back. Now, as I mentioned, I'm surprised that it says book 1, because it feels like this is all said and done. Like, there's nothing after this. It has a really satisfying, I thought, a beautiful ending to the story. But I guess it leaves it open for more if they want to come back, if both Bergara and Spurrier want to come back. Oh man, there's so much to say. Okay, without spoilers, just if you're wondering, like, if there is a big bad outside of the people that have captured his wife, yes, but that's all I will leave it at. Now, let's talk about this wonderful artwork. This creative, detailed, insane, weird, beautiful, vivid, just like you're looking at what I like to think like Mobius, if Mobius mashed up with like P. Craig Russell with a little bit of Don Bluth. My buddy Josh actually said, hey, I read CODA and it kind of reminds me of Wizards. I can completely see that. I completely see Wizards, and I completely see the cartoon, by the way, from the 80s. And I completely see Don Bluth cartoons in here. That's what I love about it. So if I'm flipping through here and this style is not for you, then yeah, because the style really helps the madness of the story. Because I feel like Spurrier really throws you for a loop a couple of times, and you're not supposed to quite know exactly what's going on in a panel, and Bergara really helps with that. But oh my gosh, do I appreciate the oversized artwork in this book, because there was so much dialogue at times that I feel like a lot of the art was lost. It's beautiful. All right, let's look at the back matter and then talk about what's missing from the back matter. Now, this begins the extras here. Additional artwork by Matías Bergara, cover sketches, and other artifacts. And on the left, of course, I am censoring that final page. Now, we have the cover to issue 1, the cover to issue 2, 3. You get the idea. And we get the covers to all 12 issues, which is wonderful. I love it. We get some additional sketches, and you get something new. This is the CODA Prelude. So here is the prelude to this world. And this isn't really a spoiler because this kind of sets up this world of CODA. And then you have this letter here from Spurrier talking about how high fantasy is dead and what he did to that tired genre, if you will. You get the bio on the 2 creators and then the end sheets. So what's missing from here that I wish they had added is you do get the same treatment here. You get all the covers here, as I mentioned, right after the issues. And then you get all the goodies, all the extras as variant covers all the way in the back. And the maps. The world before and the world after. So this is the trade paperback to volume 2. So you do get the Bergara cover here in the deluxe edition, but you don't get the variant here, for example, by Trevor Hairsine. And yeah, it's the same thing with the rest of the variants. You don't really get the sketchbook either, which I was hoping they would include because I love to see that stuff in oversized format. But it's just mainly the textless covers to issues 1 through 12, and then the CODA Prelude with the letter there from Spurrier. And this, for example, is volume 3. You get the covers and the variant covers. So the variant covers are missing, and that's kind of what I wish would have been collected in a deluxe edition with more of this Bergara sketches or behind the scenes. But what you get here mainly is the prelude, and you get the letter right there from Spurrier, and then the covers to the issues. All 12 issues, all textless, in the back. This book has 320 pages, and it has sewn binding. Here's what the eye looks like. And I was a little worried at first when I saw some of the bunches kind of stick out. But I think that just might be the glue that they use. I didn't want another one of those bitter root type of bindings where the binding just started falling apart. But I think this one is better off. And, this is a boom book. As far as the paper stock, it's a little bit thinner than the paper stock they used in the Once and Future and Something is Killing the Children. But still glossy paper. And the book retails for $49.99. Hope I did it justice in case people were interested in this fantasy book. But that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this deluxe edition, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code Near Mint Condition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this book. And also what's missing from it. So in the comments down below, let me know if you are completely fine keeping your trade paperbacks, if you've never read it and you're going into this book completely blind. Did it live up to your expectations? If you did read it, I would love to know all those comments down below. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.